Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Hope you're off to a good week. I wanted to take a few minutes to hopefully close the parenthesis on a triggering event last week, one that broke all the records on my social media. So, as some of you know who follow my work, it's been many, many years that I've been discussing parasitic ideas, idea pathogens, all of the mechanisms and ideological bents that are removing us from reason, common sense, logic, science, evidence based thinking, which led, of course, to this book. So last week, I posted a set of tweets that I thought were really innocuous, and if anything, they were meant to highlight the importance of being kind, but with some nuance. And so I'd like to repeat the gist of what I had said. So I basically said that my wife came up to me after we were at a cafe, and she came up to me and said that she was interacting with a barista, and in the interaction, the barista was clearly potentially transgender. It's not clear, and that she was unsure how to address the individual. And I then explained that it's because it was a new barista who was having a hard time with the I guess the register or the machine, whatever. I'm not sure exactly which machine it was. And so my wife, it was a very warm interaction. My wife turned to the colleague of the new barista, and she wanted to say, he'll get the hang of it. And she wasn't sure whether she should say he'll get the hang of it or they. And then she even told me that she wasn't sure if she should use they, because what if he's not transgender and he actually is a male who just is dressed. So she just came up to me to say, she was very concerned that she didn't want to make a faux pas. So you would think this is something very nice. It's laudable. She's kind. She's sensitive. She's exactly what the pronoun Taliban want us to be, which is kind and respectful. And then I added to that that we basically these kinds of thought crimes or linguistic crimes, and making sure that everybody says the right thing and so on is misplaced energy, in that most people should not be offended by these things, and that it kind of stifles natural dynamics between people, because it ended a conversation that was going very nicely because she really didn't want to offend. It was a very, very positive thing. The interaction was very nice. Subsequent to which, it's unbelievable. So I think my record all time was about 4 million tweet views in a given day. And I think over the next 2 days, one day I was about 13, 14 million. The next day I was about 12 million. So something like 26 million tweets on my threads because of this particular Twitter thread that I put up. Now remember, I've commented about Islam, about atheism, about politics, about radical feminism, about social constructivism, about Donald Trump, about the idiocy in academia. There is not a single sacred cow. There is not a single issue that is a hot button issue that I haven't commented on with my usual frontal way of communicating. And yet, none of these things, the butchering of innocent people, the Yazidi, the mass rape of all sorts of people by ISIS, the unbelievable animal cruelty that takes place with poachers. I mean, every imaginable thing that I have touched upon in all my years interacting did not come close to measuring to the amount of ire that I got for this particular set of tweets. Now, again, remember the point. Oh, and I don't know if it was a phonetic mistake or if it was an autocorrect mistake. At one point I meant to say that, walking on eggshells. I do recognize the word eggshells, but it was written as eggshells. And so just that, the amount of, silly sort of grade 3 trolling about that was just unbelievable. But anyways, I'll come back to a second about all the things that I have tackled in my long career on social media. The vitriol, right? Now, and then people say, oh, he's playing victim. I'm hardly a victim. I ran away from being executed in the Middle East. It's not blue-haired pronoun Taliban folks who are going to scare me. If you see, I kept doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down. So this is not about, you know, modulating anything. If anything, it triggers my ire that we live now in a reality where to even say something that is in support of these individuals who deserve to live, of course, free of any bigotry, right? That itself is blasphemous. Don't think about them. Don't utter a word about them. Just celebrate their identity and shut your mouth, you great unwashed rube and pleb. And of course, my intellectual hero, a true intellectual visionary, Valerie Bertinelli, wanted to demonstrate her bona fide progressive credentials, so she came after me. There was no understanding of what I wrote. So there's like thousands and thousands of people who wrote, moron, you're a professor, you don't know how to say hi, good morning, may I have a coffee? Your wife is mentally ill, should we teach her how to speak? So everything was twisted, everything was contorted, everything was lied, was created, an edifice of lies were created to fit a narrative that, here's a professor in Canada who is frozen, or his wife is frozen in fear. By the way, that's a euphemism. It's a colloquialism. It doesn't mean that she was literally frozen in fear in the way that when we were leaving Lebanon. It means that she was concerned that she didn't want to say a single syllable that might hurt the feeling of the other person. It's laudable. It's kind. It's warm. It's sensitive. But if you see the articles that have been written about me, if you see the tweets, if you see the hate, kill yourself, you dumb bitch. That's what I've been called. By the way, that's misgendering me, because look at how masculine I am. I'm certainly no bitch. So that hurts my feelings because you're misgendering me, literally. So the ire is not triggered when thousands of people are gang raped by religious fanatics. The ire is not triggered when all sorts of unbelievable injustices occur that I weigh on, at great personal risk, at great professional risk. The real ire, the real religious blasphemous point was when I said that my wife felt uncomfortable because she didn't know how to address someone. And remember, it wasn't, hi, how are you? May I have a coffee? There was a need for a pronoun use because she wanted to say, he'll get the hang of it. That's lost in the attacks. Again, what's the general story here? Valerie Bertinelli is not worth my socks. That's not the point. And all the other super fierce people, they don't... Look what I'm doing. What bothers me is that there are a lot of people who don't have my combative style, who won't double down when they are intimidated by the mob. The 14-year-old little girl who maybe says something that will drive her to commit suicide. If I read you, just go to my thread and read the comments of people. Imagine having millions of people descend on you. Boy, it takes someone pretty comfortable in their skin to not capitulate at such pressure. And for what? Right? Think about all the problems that exist in the world. Think about all the issues that certainly are deserving of our ire, of our vitriol. And this is what you choose to do. This is not whataboutism, by the way. If I see anybody writing this on my things, I will definitely delete them, because there's nothing I detest more, or few things I detest more, than smug imbecility and walking Dunning-Kruger types. This is not whataboutism. Humans have a hierarchical mechanism of responding to things, as you would expect from an evolutionary perspective, which means what? If my hair is literally on fire, I don't worry about dandruff in my beard. I first have to put out the hair in my hair, the fire in my hair, before I deal with the dandruff in my beard. There is a modulated system of responses. Therefore, when you react with such anger and ire, and you misconstrue my story, I'm saying that she's lovely and kind because she doesn't want to hurt someone's feelings, and you turn it into, I am the Taliban transphobe who doesn't know how to speak. I probably forgot more linguistic nuance last Tuesday than all of the people who've ever written to me combined have in their miserable lives. Right? It's offensive. It's offensive because you are attacking the dignity of what true victimhood is. You're attacking the dignity of what true suffering is. Imagine people writing to me that I should suffer the same consequences of what happened to Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins had a stroke. Imagine that you have such a dark heart that that's what you wish upon me, because I shared a story about an interaction that my wife had at a cafe that we return to every day, a cafe that we have very warm relationship with everybody who's there. But apparently we are indistinguishable from Himmler. That's the problem with cancel culture. There was just someone who put up an article on me in one of the newspapers in Australia. If you read it, I mean, there's almost not a word of there that is the truth, right? Nothing. It's all made up, but it fits a narrative. So even someone like me, who is, quote, an ally to that community, because I am about as socially liberal as they come. I will maybe post clips of me walking in the Berlin gay parade and the Rio Carnival gay and transgender parade and hanging around with all. I'm about as socially liberal as they come, but I'm talking about a larger point. When we create all of these linguistic markers that we need to all abide by, it just freezes the natural dynamics between people. That's all I was saying. But apparently, I deserve to die. Die, bitch, die. It's not good, people. I can handle it. I can move on. I'll be working on my book later today. I'll be kissing my wife. By the way, when we were walking up to the cafe today, same cafe, my wife turned to me. That's why I love her. One of the many reasons I love her. And she said, hey, can you give me a quick refresher course on how to order from the barista? She was trolling all the idiots who had sent us all those hate things. I said, I'm going to... She goes, no, don't post it. Sorry, sweetie. I had to mention your brave honey badger attitude. So, to the pronoun Taliban, there are bigger issues. All people deserve to live free of bigotry. I'll be standing right there with you, fighting for the rights of all. Not just the transgender people, all people. Tall people, short people, fat people, purple people. Everyone deserves to live a life of dignity. But you don't hold a special place in victimology. You're not above the rest of us. We don't need to uniquely celebrate your personhood. You're just like everybody else with the exact same rights. And the quicker we stop creating a caste system, you're not allowed to say a word. You're not allowed to say that women menstruate. You're not allowed to say that women get pregnant. J.K. Rowling, billionaire J.K. Rowling, they came for her. So no one is safe from this nonsense. And again, believe me, I understand what it is to live in societies where you are compelled to think what you're supposed to think or say what you're supposed to say. We are getting there. It's not hyperbolic to say that thousands and thousands of people, well, it's not hyperbolic. I receive the emails from people who say, I'm about to lose my business because the Taliban brigade, the Taliban pronoun brigade is coming after me. They're posting stuff. They're putting me out of business. For what? It's unbelievable. It's grotesque. It's an attack on truth. It's an attack on true victimhood. Yes, transgender people can face bigotry, and we should fight hard to make sure that there are no, systemic mechanisms that, promote hatred. But to see what I was put through when I was meant to be sharing a tweet that demonstrates that we are sensitive to that community, demonstrates what happens when you have a quasi-religious fervor. Shut your mouth, celebrate our personhood, and don't blink an eye. Otherwise, we will cancel you. I wish I could say slowly we inch. Cheers, everybody. Have a great week. Don't get so angry. Don't be so mean. Don't be scammers. Don't be defamers. Rid your heart of hate. Smile, laugh, love. Don't take yourself so seriously. And always defend the truth. Cheers.